Okay, let us see when we use passive or why we use passive. There are certain situations where we can use passive voice. You can see here when the doer is unknown or unimportant. You don't know who is the doer, or you are not bothered about the doer, so then you use passive voice. So you can see a precious diamond has been stolen, so you don't know who has stolen that. Anyway, the diamond has been stolen, so you say passive voice. Instead of saying somebody has stolen the precious diamond, you can say a precious diamond has been stolen. Or you can say the clothes are washed on every Sunday, instead of saying somebody washes clothes on every Sunday, because the doer of that action is not important. You don't mind who washes your clothes if somebody washes your clothes. So now next thing is, in some cases the doer of action is well known. For example, let us see this example. The letter was delivered in time. By whom? Of course, by the postman. Policemen do not deliver letters. And like that, the criminal has been arrested. Of course, not by the postman, by the policeman. Okay, so here everybody knows who does such actions. So that's why it is not required to mention by the postman or by the policeman or anything like that. So in some cases, hidden identity of the doer is the problem, or that is the case when we use passive voice. The doer of the action does not want to reveal his identity. That is the case. So you see, children will not be allowed inside the hall. If the person who will not allow children inside the hall, if he writes, for example, Peter will not allow children inside the hall, that will be rude about Peter. So Peter will not like mentioning his name in that case. So Peter will instead write, children will not be allowed inside the hall. So the hidden identity of the doer is a requirement there. So for example, electrical goods are repaired here. Whoever repairs it, that's not the question. Whether electrical goods are repaired there or not, that's the question. Okay. So in some cases, government or concerned authorities are understood to be the doer. For example, you can see liquor is banned in the Indian state of Gujarat. By whom? Of course, by the Gujarat government. Parking in busy areas of the town is strictly prohibited. By whom? Of course, by people who are concerned, maybe the mayor of the city. These are the cases, general cases, when we use passive voice, and in such cases only we have to use passive voice. Passive voice is not something that we use everywhere just when we get bored by active voice. No, that is not the case. You have certain cases, you have certain situations when you are supposed to use passive voice, and in those situations only you have to use passive voice. Now you have to remember the verb be. That is the part of every passive voice verb. The verb be has 8 forms. So any of these forms is considered to be equal to the verb be. So if you use V3 after any of these words, that should be understood as a passive voice verb construction. So you can say be, is, are, was, were, been, being. You can say be is the V1 or base form. Is, are, these are the present forms of be. Was, were, these are the past forms. Been is V3 or past participle. Being is ing form. So if you use V3 after any of these words, that is passive voice. Or you can say it is passive voice only if you use any of these words plus V3, or else it is not passive voice. This is a very important understanding you need to have, so that you can use active voice sentences and passive voice sentences according to your requirement. Here it is set 1. You have to understand it like is plus V3, am plus V3, are plus V3, was plus V3, or were plus V3. V3 is the common thing in every construction. So you have to say that is plus V3. For example, something is done, it is passive voice. I am invited, it is passive voice. They are treated well, that is passive voice. He was not invited, this is passive voice. They were not treated well, this is passive voice. So this is the first set of passive voice verb forms, set 1. So you can make some sentences like this, or you can make it like this, passive voice verb form set 2. Here we are using the forms of have or has or had, but that cannot be directly followed by V3. It should be followed by one of the forms of be, that is been, because have or has or had can be followed by V3 only. That is the rule we have already studied. So you have to use it like this, have been V3, has been V3, or had been V3. So you can make sentences such as they have been invited, she has been trained, they had been avoided, something like that. So this is the second set of passive verb forms. We use have or has or had plus been plus V3. And here we have the third set of passive voice verb forms. What we see here are the forms of continuous tenses. You can see is being V3, am being V3, are being V3, was being V3, or were being V3. So out of these, is being V3, am being V3, or are being V3 are all present continuous passive verb forms. Was being V3 or were being V3 are past continuous verb forms. For example, you can say the child is being trained, or I am being scolded. That means somebody is scolding me. They are being treated well. Okay, somebody is treating them well. Okay, like that, was being V3 or were being V3 also can be used. You have to remember, when you make a passive voice sentence, the subject should not be the doer of action. For example, if you say, I was being insulted, there, I am not the person who insulted someone. Somebody was insulting me. They were being praised. That means they were not praising anybody. People were praising them. Now here is the set 4. Here we are using modal auxiliaries. You can use will, would or shall, should, can or could, may or might or must plus be plus V3. So you can say you will be invited. Okay, I would be treated well, or they may be awarded, or something like that. So these are all passive voice verb forms. These are all used in the same way. All these modal auxiliaries are used in the same way, so there is no confusion at all. You should just mind the meaning of the modal auxiliary you are using. For example, you should use will only if you are talking about future. Same is the case with shall. And you can use would if you want to show some respect. You can use should if you want to show some compulsion. You can use can if you are talking about some possibility or ability. Like that, according to the meaning of these helping verbs, you have to choose them. And all these helping verbs or all these modal auxiliaries are used in the same way when they are used in passive voice, or we can say they are all followed by be plus V3. So this is the set 4 of passive voice verb forms.